Hi, I'm Draken, and this is the DrakenWerks, and we are back here again at the Draken Spire, but we're not going to stay here for long. We're going to shoot off and head out here into what is essentially no man's land. So heading away from the base for a change, but we're flying. We're not taking like the Never Railway or anything else like that. We are going to fly to this location. It's a set of coordinates that's been given to us and everyone who's been taking part in a certain event or an activity that is coming up. But as we are flying over here, I thought we'd have a bit of a flyover and see what everything looks like there. I thought I'd quickly mention that we have a fan Discord server. You guys may not be aware. I don't talk about it enough on the videos here. In fact, I don't think I've ever really mentioned it on the videos here before, and I don't think many of us do. And we should really speak about it a bit more often because it'd be nice to see a lot more activity over there. There are a few people over there joined in, and I put up every week a summary, or every fortnight at the moment, because there's not been a lot of videos being produced at the moment, so it seemed to make sense to put it out every fortnight. But we'll probably go back to a weekly schedule once we start picking up again in the new year. But I put out like a summary sort of showing what's happened on everyone's video very briefly. Doesn't go into the details, doesn't go into the full sort of ins and outs. It's still worth watching all the Unorthoblocks videos from the various people on the server here. Highly recommended, and do indeed check them all out down below in the description below, because that will show you over to their channels where there's you can see what else is going on around the server. But yeah, it's worth just checking out the fan Discord. I'll leave the link down in the description below, so I'd recommend you guys go and sign up to that, join into that, and see what's going on over there. But yeah, we're flying over here, and just see you guys we're coming across. Remember, we used to do base tours, and this isn't the purpose of why we were flying out across to here, but I thought as we were coming this way, we were swinging by this place anyway. It was directly on the route of where we were heading to, so I thought we'd quickly fly around and check out MighteyHigh's base here. And as you can see, with all his little towers there and everything else, he's another one who likes building tall tower structures like myself. And you can see there, you've got he's got like this globe that was on top of one of the towers, and then on top of this one over here, he's got the sun sort of sat on top of it as well. All looks very, very, very cool. But our purpose here wasn't to be checking out the base. Those could do check in on our fellow server folks and everything else there, see what's going on, but it was actually to carry on beyond. We got another destination that we need to reach, so we're going to carry on flying for a moment there. But one of the other things as well, I was mentioning the fan Discord server, it's well worth sort of signing up to there anyway if you want to keep up to date with all the latest goings on and what's happening on the server. If you've got any questions and you want to talk to the guys that are on the server, that's a great place to go and do it. So go and sign up there. One of the questions that does crop up every now and then from people is sometimes ask is, how do we join the server? How does one get involved in the server? That's quite a different question, and it's not too different to what it is like for a lot of these sort of creator servers that you'll see out there, and that is normally it's by invite only. You normally have to be a creator of some description, a content creator, normally YouTube, but we also have a few people from Twitch as well who will do streaming anyway, will come on here, or a lot of people do both, you know, they'll do YouTube videos every now and then and also go and do streaming and everything else like that. And we generally tend to invite people that we think will fit into the server, and it's all sort of done as a sort of collaborative amongst the team there, who will turn around and then decide that yes or no that they want to see these people join the server. So the first thing to make note of, if you're not a content creator, then you wouldn't be able to join the server anyway, because you need to be a content creator to begin with. And secondly, it's a question of then being able to fit in, being able to actually do something a little bit different with your content and everything else, something that makes you stand out with your content, rather than just being yeah, here's me in survival, but actually going off and doing something. Like you can see, we got on here, we've got redstone builders, we've got people who do massive, great big, you got me who does these great big massive fantasy fortifications and stuff like that, and it's that kind of thing. It's making sure we have people who fit in with that, and then the server's got to be open as well to it at the time. And you know, at the moment we are, from my understanding, we are currently full up at the moment, though not a lot of us are posting at the moment. That may change. We may decide we'll open it up to more people in the future, we may not. There is a second season that will probably come up in the new year at some point, probably halfway through the new year, imagine, around about the new release coming out. That's still in discussion, so we don't know the full ins and outs, and we may take on a couple more people around there. But again, it's not something that you can normally just go, yeah, I want to join up and everything else, take us, because that's not how it works. We invite people in. But if you're wanting to get your content noticed and everything else, go back to what I was saying, go back to the fan servers, because then the space is there to be able to share any videos that you're uploading, and that way that if there's people there that think, actually, yeah, these guys might be a good fit in on the server and everything else like that, you'll be in the right position to get noticed, because you're putting your videos up there as well. So do that. Make sure you obviously look at what's on the fan servers there, and make sure you post it in the right channels. There are different channels for things, so if you don't want to post your videos, or when you're streaming, there is channels for you to be able to post it in on there. Make sure you obviously abide by the rules and everything else like that. that. But yeah, come and join us there. But this is why we were flying over here. So all of this distance, all this nattering away and everything else, we were coming here to the Christmas district, which is a brand new district that was set up a couple of weeks ago by MighteyHigh. You've got this Christmas tree in the middle here, which I believe was built by Mighty Beard. I mean, MighteyHigh and Mighty Beard have done a lot of the builds around here. I know a few others have been involved. Rat Dog has done some work down here. Gray's done some work down here. I know Lady Beck's done a little bit of work down here as well. So there's a few people who've done some work down here, and they started doing it in the same way that the Halloween district was a bit of a collaboration. That was more of a game. This area is just more of like somewhere to come and do some sort of Christmassy builds. And the reason we've come over here is because Lady Beck's left a post up to turn around and say to us all on our own private Discord, not the same one as the fan one, but the private one, to say, right, you guys who are involved in the Secret Santa, we need you guys to come over to here and we've got your Secret Santa list to pick up. And so this is why we're here. I also want to check out the coordinates, and I'm getting my coordinate systems completely wrong because I was at completely the wrong side of the district. But it is good that we get to check out some of the bridges and the snowman there and everything else. And actually, it's on the other side there. It's like this little Santa's hat that we had to go to. And it's like a little dispenser that will just randomly dispense one of the books. And you saw us put in our wish list last time. But again, we got our wish list has now come up again on this one here. So we're going to click on the button here and it'll give us a random one. But what I did was I pressed it twice and I ended up with my one twice, my own one. And it's like, well, there's no point in getting my own one. And as you'll see, there was actually, I think I left it late compared to everyone else because there was only 2 left in the dispenser, so it was 50-50 as to whether I get mine or not. But eventually I did get the other one. I'm not going to say whose it is. I'm going to show that in a future episode, more of the details here. But in the meantime, let's go and do a time lapse and see what I did last week back at the base. And we are back again there. So that was all the work that we'd done in the last week. Let's go and actually check it out properly. So the first bit that you saw us build up there was we built a new airship. So you remember last week we built these two airships here, the IDAV Demelza Skies and the IDAV Draken Skies. And we've now added a third airship to join them. I'll probably add a couple more as well as we go through here. But this is the IDAV Scylla. This is a small, you may recognize this class if you've been following the channel for a while as one of the IRA class. But it's actually an IRA class variant. This is the Scylla class variant of it, because the cargo space here you can see has been compacted down to the front and it's been replaced by a couple of extra cannons down the bottom there. So it's a slightly more aggressive version of the IRA class there, carrying 8 cannons instead of 4, so it's doubled up the actual armament on it. But it's there sort of escorting and helping along with the bigger ships there. So they're much more sort of military rather than cargo design airships there. And you'll remember when we were building the Demelza classes last week, we also built one that was halfway under construction over here, but we only built the actual ship itself, the whole bit. We didn't actually build the rest of the shipyard. So in the last week, I've been working on the shipyard. I've built a few things here. We built these chain link fences going around the outside here, and just like the other shipyard on the other side there, the smaller one, we got like hard hats to be worn in this area and authorized personnel only. And you can see all the cannons lined up there. We've got scaffolding up on the side. The ship itself is up on the blocks there, currently under construction at the moment, getting ready to be built itself. We've got some of these logs down the bottom here waiting to be sort of chopped up and ready for use on the construction of the airship. We've got the engines behind it there, and then we have this this sort of scaffolding going up into this tower here, and yeah, we've got this crane here that if you've seen sort of some of the cranes that got around the rest of the base, you'll know that they have usually just they're normally just going up, and it's usually meant to be sort of operated from the bottom. But this one, I thought, even though this is sort of a medieval sort of fantasy build and everything else like that, let's make it a little bit more like a large crane of this size. And we've actually built a cab in here, so you actually have a cab to operate from, even though it's still a wooden cab, so it's probably going to be rickety and everything else like that. But you can also get access up onto the roof here, and we can sort of have a look around from the top here as well. So yeah, it's probably the biggest crane that is built on the base here. Well, it is the biggest crane. It's not probably, it is the biggest crane on the base here. But if we come back down to here, then we got this other side here. So I decided not just to make it sort of the space for building the bigger airships. We've also got here these huts here as well. And we've got the smaller airships on the other side. We're going to have a look at those in a minute ago, but these huts are pretty similar to what we had over the other side. There's nothing particularly special about them, but we just built a couple of them there. So it's like where the people who are working here, the workers, can go and relax and retire and have their cups of tea every 5-10 minutes as workers are wanting to do. I think that's a bit unfair on them, but yeah, but yeah, we come into here and we got this now. I dug out this space under here, and then we've got the you know, the smallest style of airships we do, those like little one-man merchant vessels that we have going around, breeze wind class or light wind class or something like that we call them. I can't remember the exact name for them, or light breeze class, something along those lines. I'll have to look it back up again. But yeah, this is where they're being built. So they've got like this conveyor belt production line where everything's being run along, and you can see them just being slowly more and more built as we go through there. And if we come up here, you can see the final thing that we built at the end of the last thing there. And now this isn't my design at all. This is actually a design by someone called Minecraft Sekai. I think I've pronounced that correctly. I do apologise if I mispronounced his channel name. He's got a tutorial called How to Build a Horse Stable #2, and I'll leave the link down in the description below as well, along with all the other links that we were talking about earlier on. But he had this lovely design for a stables, and I was looking for a stables to build, and so I built this one here. It's not quite the same as what he's done. I mirror imaged it. I expanded the number of stalls in there, and I also changed the roof so they sort of matched what we have here. But I like doing stuff like this every now and then. Is going grabbing someone else's tutorials or their sort of builds and everything else, and have a look at there and having a go at replicating it and then modifying it slightly as well to our own needs and everything else like that. And in this way you can learn other new techniques that you hadn't really thought of before. And there was a few things here that was quite interesting, especially for me, was these roofs, because you may notice with most of my roofs they're normally quite straight roofs and everything else like that, but I always love these designer curve roofs. So I'm going to try and do a couple more things like this from people's channels, just to try and get more of a hang of these sort of curved roofs as well, because I'd like to sort of do a few more like that. And it's good to expand your knowledge and skills of the kind of things that you do anyway. But now we have a stables, it's time that we can actually go around and collect up all the animals that we have left lying around the base. And there is quite a few. There's quite a few that we just pegged up to posts and everything else, and have been without a home for so long. I mean, some of these are like going way back, some of the things that we're getting them. They were like found from like when we were building the town hall and stuff. The wolf wasn't. The wolf is something we only tamed recently, but yeah, you can just we bring them over here. And we now have spaces and stalls to put them over here, so that they're not having to be sort of tied up to this post on the outside. Instead, they have their own little stable area that they can come and sit in. So I thought I'd bring all the animals up to here. We got our wolf that is there. Then we got our llama as well that we can bring over to here as well. So this is one of the plain llamas. So there's a few plain llamas in this area, but also we got a few of the llamas as well from the wandering traders. Though bizarrely, when I brought all the ones over from the wandering traders, some of them despawned very quickly. So I'm wondering if that was related to the fact that they were wandering trader llamas. We managed to save some of them by tying them up to the posts, but a lot of them sort of vanished off as well. But yeah, you can see you decided we grabbed the first two, and then we came and grabbed all of these in one bulk. So we got like this almost like mini herd of llamas with a pig and a sheep amongst them there as well, that would drag it over the beach, over the bridge, and bring them over to where we were there. So bring them up into the stables here as they follow us through there. But yeah, it's just a space for keeping various different animals in here as well. And you may remember these pair. So this goes back to like all the way back to like episode 4 or something like that. It's somewhere around there anyway, when we built the sweetberry farm. And obviously our sweetberry farm was powered up by foxes, and these two foxes, we went out and hunted for ages to find those two foxes that we could then use as a breeding pair for the rest of the foxes for the sweetberry farm. And they're responsible for all of the foxes that run around in the sweetberry farm, but they've been sat there in that temporary enclosure since like episode 4, like ages and ages ago. There's been like 20 other episodes since there. Those poor little foxes, and now they have a proper permanent forever home in the stables there as well, which means we can also dismantle this thing, because it was only ever meant to be a temporary facility just to hold them while we were breeding them for the sweetberry farm until we had something a bit more permanent for them. But yeah, so now we have a place for our animals, and we've got the stables behind us that you can see there has been built, and we've also built the shipyard. That's actually filled up quite a nice chunk of space actually on this side of the base as well, which is nice. We've got a little bit of space, just as you can see, just beyond there. I'm thinking I might build a museum on the other side of the stables there to put like various artifacts that we have gained on our time across the server and everything else, and I'll put them on display there. And I'll also turn around and pop, I think over this side, over to the coastline, which is just off the camera to the left of the camera here, where you've got the coastline coming down. We might build like a little fishing area and put some fishing boats and stuff in there. But don't forget to check out the fan server Discord. Don't forget to check out the rest of the guys on the Unorthoblocks server as well. We'll leave all the links down below. I've been Draken. You guys have a great day, and we'll catch you again next time. See you next week.